Hi, welcome to What You Don't See, the podcast. Today we're going to talk about, well, in one episode, if you've been following us, we talked about toxic family. Today we're going to talk about toxic people. And Magda has some stories.
Toxic people and friends.
And friends.
General.
Even like colleagues.
Yes.
Like just
even,
toxic.
and
even
employees.
oneself, because there's,
Yes.
there's some
Even
female
yourself.
that laugh and they're like, I'm very toxic,
I
right?
know.
We
Yeah.
say that, we make comments like that all the
I
time.
know.
I think we could all be a little toxic. I think we're all a little toxic to somebody because we're not everybody's cup of tea.
You're not everybody's cup of tea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think some people might look at me and say, man, that bitch is toxic.
But they might just not like you. I don't think,
say you're toxic.
no.
They're
Toxic
You never
toxic
know.
is very different. So let's define it.
Let's define
Okay,
it.
what is
Yeah,
toxic?
what is toxic?
I think
Do we have a resident toxic expert?
Let me
So-
ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, why don't we ask ChatGPT this? Well, what is toxic?
Oh, yeah.
What are traits of a toxic person?
Ask chat.
Okay, here, because I can't see.
I think being overly jealous, overly possessive, overly controlling. I guess being toxic is like all the negative habits added in one.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good, Ingrid.
Okay, guys, Chat GPT is about to tell us.
Okay, ChatGPT is so good.
Toxic people often exhibit behaviors and traits that harm others emotionally, mentally, or even physically. Some common traits include manipulation. They twist situations or people to their advantage, often
Gaslight.
disregarding others' feelings.
Gaslighting.
Lack of
Yes.
empathy. They show little to no concern for the feelings or well-being of others. Constant negativity, blaming others. They never want to take responsibility. Controlling behavior, like you said. They try to control others' actions, decisions, and relationships. Dishonesty. They lie. They withhold the truth. Jealousy and envy, like you said. Playing the victim.
Victim.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They flip.
Lots
They
of it.
flip the narrative so that they're the victim. Gaslighting, like y'all said, they make others question their reality or feelings, leading to confusion and self-doubt. Last one, drama creating.
So I don't think everybody has. I don't think everybody is toxic.
Not everybody.
I don't think people.
No, like I don't think my husband has any of the. Well, sometimes he can lack empathy.
all Capricorns do though.
But that's not
Exactly. I don't think it's because he's toxic.
Yeah.
She's just like, I don't understand that emotion.
Yeah.
Like, why are you upset? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I guess like a police dog passed away on Facebook and someone posted it. I was like, oh my God, like he died. I was like, why are you crying? Like, you don't know this dog. He's not even from the valley. Like, like what are you doing? I was like, oh,
yeah,
sad dog.
exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it's not toxic because she's just like, I don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand this emotion. You know. So,
Yeah.
but no, there are
Back to
some
being
people who are
toxic,
not
yeah.
toxic. Like my
Right.
mom is not toxic. Like
No,
she has
your
zero
mom
to-
is not
There's just
toxic.
like good people.
Yeah.
Some people are very good.
Yeah.
So
like auras.
Passive, and they're very
Yes.
positive, and they just like their peace of mind, so they avoid drama at all costs. So yeah, there's a lot of people like that.
Yes.
Like I think my dad is one of those.
Yeah.
He's just like to himself and
So what
minding his own
causes
business.
like what in childhood shapes somebody to be not toxic?
Some people
or
are just
toxic?
mean.
some? I think
But like
There's
what
some people that are
causes
just
that?
mean people.
Like they're born that way. You think?
Maybe
No,
they're just
I feel-
bored. They're bored and they
don't
have
have anything
nothing
better to do.
stimulating their mind.
So
and
okay,
they're
let's
just
go back to,
overthinking.
for example, childhood. When I moved here and I came to the U.S. when I was 9 years old, I didn't speak any English, right? So the first year, which was fourth grade, they put me in the bilingual classes, and everybody was super nice. And then in fifth grade, I already went to. I could speak English better, and I passed the tasks test, and I did like super good. So they put me in an all English class. And then I had these girls that were super bullies, right? And they would make fun of me. They would call me a beaner. They would, you know.
Oh, that's horrible.
So I came with, it was like a new country to me. It was
Yeah.
like a new experience. So I was never in like in the hateful or like negative. I didn't have like those feelings or emotions towards anybody because I didn't even know anybody from here, right? But I think what causes it sometimes is envy, jealousy, seeing other people that you believe that are happier than
Insecurity.
you. Insecurity, lack of confidence, lack of self-belief. Maybe you were bullied when you were younger and
Trauma,
you don't understand
insecurity,
it. So
yeah.
now you apply it onto somebody else that you don't know that threatens you in a way. I don't know. I think those
Yeah.
are like how you begin to be toxic, because if you go to like, or if you hang out with children, they're very mean. Like most of them are like bullies, and you know, and maybe they see it on
That is
TV. Maybe they see it from other
Yeah.
classmates.
Their emotional intelligence is still developing.
Right. So they you ¿cómo se dice? You imitate, right? Like you imitate from what you see, from what's presented to you, from how your parents treat each other, how your parents treat others, how, your classmates treat you.
Or you're entitled because you have a name and your kids are acting out and they're being like, well, you don't know who I am, then
entitledness too.
So that,
But that's the parents' fault.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just
that
I
is the
think-
parents' fault.
That's the parents' fault because I feel that the kids have to learn that from somewhere. They have to learn like, oh, my mom, dad, they're up here, so I'm up here.
Yeah, people are beneath me.
Yes.
And then moving up, I mean, that's like childhood, right? Like experiences that I have. Moving up to teenage years, I have a lot. I'm highly believe in this that telenovelas really shaped a lot of toxic women, at least in the Latino culture. Because what is it that you
never
see?
thought about
It was
that.
Yes,
okay.
like you saw that growing
Yeah.
up. You would see the telenovela, I don't know, muchachitas, a bunch of girls hanging out, and they're elite, and they're rich, and they're this, and then there's like the not so popular girls,
Mariela del Barrio.
not so popular girls hate on the the rich girls that have everything, and so you start like picking up, I think like traits that they don't even belong to
That's
you.
why social media is so important.
Yeah. And
Yep.
so I think that's you begin to pick up things like, okay, so I see someone is living her best life in social media, and then I start hating on her, right?
Yeah.
Because it seems like she's living her best life, but deep down you don't know. It's not that you don't hate the person, you hate the lifestyle that they're portraying on social media, or like their lifestyle that they have on social media. You're not hating on the person, you're hating on their page, because you might meet this person in real life. And it's a complete like, oh man, I thought you were like a bitch, because you seem like a bitch or whatever. But I got to know you and you're like super cool. And I would always get that back in the day. Like, oh, like, seems like you're always mad. But it's just me like with my what the fuck face all the time. Like, not
talked about
understanding life. Like, what the heck is going on,
My what the fuck face.
It's like, what the fuck, So it has a lot to do with the environments, how you grew up with. I don't know, maybe your mom was toxic with your dad, so then you think it's normal for you to be toxic with a partner. It has a lot to do, but to me, it's like the environment that you grew up in and your ways, right?
Or you see it and you're like, I don't want to be that way.
Yes, exactly, exactly. That
That's
happens.
what happened to me. I saw my mom, the way she was with my dad. She was always, with every reason, my mom she was going through it. My dad cheated. So as I got older, I've always get questions like, why aren't you the jealous type? Because I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to. I saw what she went through and how she wasted all those years just being jealous of.
Paranoid.
Yes. And I don't want to be like that. So that's one thing I've had issues with in my relationships with. They think I don't care enough because I'm not questioning, I'm not jealous.
Right.
But I don't want to put myself in that mindset.
Yeah, I don't want to put myself in that mindset. I made a joke the other day because I stayed at a hotel here in McAllen with my daughters so I could take them to the pool and stuff. And I called my husband and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, what? He's like, I'm in bed. And I said, are you going to bed already? And he's like, yes. I said, don't think I won't show up in the middle of the night. Right? And he starts laughing. He's like, you're so funny. He goes, what are you all doing? Right? And then I said, oh, we're getting ready for bed, blah, 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 And so I said goodnight to him or whatever. But it was because I was like, I'm going to be toxic, And I made a joke with him.
I had to pretend once to be toxic because my ex was so hurt that I never got upset.
Why?
Why?
Because I wouldn't get jealous.
Needed that.
So
he needed that.
What
He
did
needed
you
that.
pretend to be? Like, what was
So
the scenario?
I was actually having lunch, right? And there was this really pretty girl, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that with this one, right? So I called him and I pretended to be upset, and I'm like, I'm gonna go over there, and if you're talking to her, I wasn't even gonna go. I was having lunch, and the guy's like freaking the fuck out, and then I give him a hard time. He got really mad at me because why was I overthinking this, right?
Yeah.
Then when we get home, I was like, there, you got your novela. Like, I gave you the drama. I hope you're happy for another 5 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to pretend once.
So you're not a toxic,
No.
jealous. Like
I'm not. Now, granted,
you've
I'm
never
human.
been that way before.
I'm human. I still get
yeah.
jealous.
One
like
of what's
all
one of
do.
your toxic moments?
that one. Like a real toxic moment.
Yeah. When you were really being toxic.
You're not really toxic.
Okay, so about 13 years ago, I passed by somebody's house, right? And I was with a friend of mine. I mean, if he's watching, he knows who he is because it was only once. And I think that's been my most toxic. And I
That's
just
it?
wanted to see.
That's it.
I think my most toxic is like calling somebody repeatedly.
Oh yes, I've done that before. One time
Because
Albert
they're-
broke up with me.
because they're being shady, and you know if like it. But this was like years and years and years ago, and now it's like, why am I going to waste my energy?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just not gonna. Like I'm just not even gonna date
I think
you or mess with you.
exactly. I think we all went through it once at least, where you're like, you know
You
what,
figure it
that
out.
was so
Yeah.
draining.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
so
such a
like
horrible
toxic.
mindset.
Your
Mhm.
first
Like,
relationship.
how can I react that way? Yes, yeah. Or your real love, like the real first love
Yeah.
that you're like super whooped on. Like that happened to me. But one time I remember Albert and I were barely starting like dating, and not even dating. We were just like friends. And he's like, hey, we were talking on the phone. He's like, hey, I gotta go. Gotta go to the restroom. And I'm like, okay. So this dumbass, this freaking dumbass, goes downstairs and he's hanging out with like 2-3 girls, right? But I don't know. He puts his phone in his pocket and then dials me. So I'm overhearing like, yeah, this guy, blah blah blah, and like conversations in the back. I'm just like. What am I
Not in
like,
the
dude?
restroom.
Like for over like 10 minutes, I was just like hearing like this motherfucker. So I call my sister. I'm like, Fatima, let's go, girl. Like, get in the car. I'm picking you up, and we're driving to his house. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna freaking bust him with the
Yeah.
girls there. So Fatima, get in. Just driving all the way north from South McAllen, all the way North McAllen. Like, I'm gonna bust him, and I go and he didn't believe it. And I'm like, hey, knock the door. And he just comes out and he's like, no, dude, like, it's not what you think. It's just the girls here hanging out. We're just having, like, we're just talking. Fuck you, like, I'm done. This is it. Like,
And did the girls see you?
yes, of course. They're all scared inside the house. And after that, like, never again. Like, he cut off all his girlfriends. He cut off, like, unfollowed everyone. Like, he's like, dude, like.
Let's talk about that though. Are you
it's-
allowed to have friends? And obviously, yes, right?
Yes,
like,
yes.
Like you can have guy friends, Marty can have girlfriends, right? It's just how often, what's appropriate? How often should they talk?
Respectfully.
Respectfully.
So it's just a matter of being respectful. Like if I have guy friends, if I'm going to go to lunch with a guy or to dinner with a guy, I tell my husband, hey, I'm going to be here at lunch,
Yeah.
so that he knows ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my expectation is if he ever goes to lunch with a teacher or somebody from the thing, that he would tell me ahead of time.
Right.
Because the last
Right.
thing I want is somebody to call
Surprise,
me
yeah.
and then to
Yeah.
say, hey, I saw Marty at lunch with this woman.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I want to know ahead of
But
time.
you want to be like, oh yeah, it's this woman. Her name's this. Yeah,
Yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah, I know who she
She's
is.
friends. We're friends.
Yeah,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so as long as it's respectful and you
Right.
have your boundaries.
Yeah.
But you
And
have
then
to set
also,
boundaries.
like
Yes,
at
agreed.
some point, calls and text messages should end at a certain
I
time,
agree with that too.
right?
yeah.
And
Like
yeah.
I feel like that's respect. Like if one of Marty's girlfriends was texting him at 8-9 p.m. and that's family time, like that's not respectful.
That's disrespectful.
That
It's
is
disrespectful,
disrespectful.
right.
And like some people just don't get that.
Yeah.
You know?
I
Like
don't
it's and then
I don't think my husband has any girlfriends anymore. Like at this point, he has a few from the past, but not anyone that he like. Oh, let me go have lunch with her, or, I mean,
You see,
I don't
I'm
think
the
I have that
girlfriend.
problem.
I'm the friend of the guy.
Yeah,
You're the friend,
You're
yeah.
the friend.
Yeah.
Of
I'm
the
the
guys.
friend of the guy.
I've been the friend too,
Yeah.
but ever since I got married, I don't think I even go out with my guy friends or anybody to like. I don't.
I have guy friends.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
go
No, I
out.
have guy friends. I just don't. I don't do that. Like
I still have
don't
lunch
go
with my
out.
guy friends, but I don't text them after a certain time. If it's 8-9 o'clock, I do not text. Why? Because they're married. They have their
Yeah.
own thing. So if it's during the day, but I always
Plus, you want to stay on the wife's good side.
Yes, and I
And you're gonna get on the bad side if they're texting you at 8-9
Right.
p.m. when they should be having dinner with
Yeah.
their family.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
ahead.
you
Think
have
ahead.
to now
Mhm.
you. It's like I told my Eli when Eli at he's had different relationships, and there was several where they didn't like me. They did not want me around. They wanted him to stop talking to me. I would never text them late. I always
respected those
respected,
boundaries,
but
yeah.
they were still very jealous of that. Now, tables turn. I'm in a relationship. I also do not. Once I'm in a relationship, I don't invite my guy friends to my house alone. Right? Why? Because I don't want to give the other person something to overthink about. And I
Right.
think that's like a big thing with relationships is don't give them something to overthink about.
How not to be toxic.
Yeah.
Not to be toxic. Yeah.
Well, some people, to be toxic, do things to intentionally make the partner jealous because they think, oh, they're gonna want me more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I've
like,
seen that happen.
And
a lot.
for
we
me-
we've had friends who
Yeah.
do that where she or they will do something to make the boyfriend jealous on purpose. Like, because, oh, that's going to make him like me more if he sees that this guy, or if I tell him about,
But
you know,
no.
That's
For
crazy.
me-
That's
for
too much
me,
work.
Yeah, no, I would
That's too
never
much
date.
work.
Yeah.
and it's just manipulative
Yeah.
and it's mean-hearted and
If I'm
too much
feeling
work,
jealous, then I'm not going to date you.
Yeah.
That's how I. That's
Yes.
how
Don't
I
give me
am.
a reason to be jealous.
Yes.
Don't give me a
Yes.
reason to be jealous.
So
If you're making my nervous system
back to
Uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I'm out.
If you're altering my nervous system, get
Yes.
out. Like you're out.
Yeah.
Even in girlfriends.
So how
like
do you guys
girls.
feel
Yes.
about social media? Right in the beginning, also when we were in the talking stage, and then boyfriend and girlfriend, he would still be adding like following girls on Instagram, right? I was like, what's the point of you following girls on Instagram if we're already together? And it
like
got
what
to
kind
the
of girls? Like, are they business
no,
relationships?
no,
Okay.
no,
Like the ones with the.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Instagram models.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
okay.
exactly. Let me be more specific.
Yeah.
Instagram models, girls that have nothing to do with your business, girls that you're not selling anything to.
Yeah.
Like if they're not making you money, like what are you
Yeah.
like business wise or anything, why are you following them, right? Oh, well, it's because so I can get the follow back. Like nah.
They're not gonna follow you back.
Don't give me that follow
a
back
good
BS.
try.
Like no.
That's so funny.
So then it got to the point where it's like, you know what? That's it. We're not gonna fight about this anymore. Unfollow. And I was like, okay. Not once have we argued about anymore.
Good.
Does he care about that anymore.
But that's just
you
setting
know?
boundaries.
Yeah.
To me, it was boundaries because
Yeah,
it was
okay.
already crossing the
So that-
line. When I mean, to me, it's like if you want to be with me, like you're with
Yeah.
me. Like I'm not gonna be fucking around, bullshitting around. If you want to do that on your own, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna be part of it. You know. So it came to the point where he was like, hey, you know what? I don't want any drama with you. I want to cause you peace of mind. I don't want you to
Yeah.
think,
Yes.
even if I'm not doing anything, I don't want you to think that I'm doing something. So he
Yeah.
stopped, you know, and that's it. And then we got married and we're
Right,
good.
that's all we
And
want
we've
is
never
peace of
had
mind.
Well, I have a question.
an issue.
I have a question. Is the act of checking who your partner is following toxic in itself?
I think if it's
Like, is the act in itself of like, let me go through
it's-
and see who
it's,
they're
it's
following?
a little toxic, yeah.
it's
To
toxic.
me, it
I'm
is.
sorry, Ingrid.
No, it is. But
Because my husband would say
No.
that is toxic.
No, it
that
is
You know
toxic.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him to do that to me either.
yeah,
you know?
it is toxic. But at the same time, I did have
She
trust.
felt that there was a problem.
I had trust issues with him in the beginning
Yeah,
of
he
the
already
relationship.
gave you reasons to
exactly,
distrust
exactly.
you. Yeah.
So you're already distressing me, and I'm
Yeah.
not liking it. Like you're already crossing that line that you're overdoing
Yeah.
it. You know, I'm not gonna mind if you're following 1, 2, 3 random girls that you
Yeah.
probably know.
Yeah.
You know, from the past or your friends from high school or whatever.
Yeah.
But once you're doing it, like follow, just because you want to follow, dude. Like no, like it's not gonna fucking happen. Like, no, bro.
anymore. You're,
You're-
married.
you're-
And now we're married, and
married.
everything
You're
changes.
interested in
you know?
still looking around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's either that or this. That. So he chose this, and we got married after that, and everything is perfectly fine after that. You know, not once have we had an issue over like another female or a follower. Like
Good.
it's like a healthy.
He was willing to like
Oh
respect
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
boundaries.
He's like, I'd rather do this
than ever
than
fight
have
about
you
this.
on my
Yeah.
freaking like bitching at me
Yeah.
over something that I'm making you overthink
Inconsequential-
about because it's not
inconsequential.
even doing it in a. You might not be doing it in a bad way, but I don't like it.
Yeah,
you
like,
know?
he might
and
not
that might
have
be
a bad
toxic,
intention,
right?
but
That I
still.
don't want it, but It's just that, I mean, I feel comfortable that way.
You were setting the boundaries.
Yeah. And if of course,
What
if he
about
has,
phones?
if he has friends and if he has his girlfriends that he wants to hang out with, I have
never
absolutely
checked the
no
phone.
problem
Never?
with that.
I've never checked Murdy's phone.
No.
I joke about it. I'm like, babe, and I said, what's your passcode? And he's like, what? I go, what's your passcode? And then he gave it to me, and I was like, I don't have time for
See,
this.
and we don't even
No.
know each other. I don't even know.
Our-
Like,
our
I don't
phones
know
are
his
open.
passcode or.
Our phones are open. We leave
okay.
it everywhere. Like, I have no
and
problem.
you know his passcode?
He doesn't have a passcode.
And you don't have a passcode
No.
either? But what if somebody steals your phone?
Ah, fuck. Find my iPhone, block it, and I don't know. But yeah,
That's why I mean, that's the only reason I
Yeah.
have passcodes because
Right.
somebody,
Yeah, no,
like, I
I know,
have
I know,
sensitive
yeah.
information.
I lose my phone all the
from,
time.
Like,
no,
clients,
I lose my
you
phone
know?
all the time. But luckily, I have Find My iPhone, and everybody has my location because
Yeah.
of that. He has my location because of that, so he can find my phone, not to like locate me.
When you give out that information, like you're okay with it, instead of they obligate you to give it to them. That's different.
It's
Yeah.
Oh
different.
yes,
different.
yes, of course. No,
Yeah.
this is like, these were like willing actions.
Yes.
You know, it's not like
it's
I'm
to make
making
sure
you.
both of you have peace of mind.
Right, right,
And at the end of the
right.
day, when you're in a relationship, all you want is some people don't want it, right?
Yeah.
But on my side, I want somebody who's going to give me peace of mind. That I'm
Right.
not going to I don't check if I'm talking to
Yeah.
someone. I've never gone into their page and seen who comments, who they like. Never,
like
never.
in the
I stay
beginning,
away.
that's when I had that issue. Like, hey, this is how it has to be in order for us to be like good.
Yeah.
And it's already been 7 years that those
Yeah,
changes that
yeah.
we've both made, and I mean it's been good. So yeah, maybe it is a little toxic to like, let me see who you're following, but
He had already given you reasons to
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah,
And
so
They make us
and-
toxic.
and
Yeah, you
exactly.
can be turned
There's
to
men
be-
that can turn you toxic, you know.
Yes.
But like you say, because of past experiences, I'm not gonna repeat this with you again. So it's either this way or not, because I've had previous experiences where I've been cheated on from all those follows, you know. So that's what made me toxic before, and then now I'm like, hey, I don't like it.
I don't want to be in that stage.
I don't want to be in that stage. I don't even want to go there. So it's this or that. You
Now
know?
let's talk about toxic people.
like friends, like people that
People
you-
that
Ooh,
that
That
are
are
out there
our
on
friends,
social
yeah.
media. Like, I believe in expressing what you feel, but when you sit there and express and just throw negative
names.
drop names and negative about, and this is, some people do it all the time, and I don't understand if they see themselves or not. It's like I
think
just
they're
posted.
aware, because they're always
Are they
constantly
aware that I just
How-
posted
yeah.
this anger 2 weeks ago or last week, and it's constant fighting with people that sometimes they reach out to you, hey, let's do this together, and then the next day they're talking about people that don't reply to them, and I'm like, oh my god, did I miss a fucking text? You know, like they make you.
think it's you?
Yes, I'm like, did I not text her back?
I'm real
or
bad
him?
about. Like I
Texting
think I
back, yeah.
reply and I.
Me
didn't.
too.
I think people know you're not toxic though. You're just busy.
I'll
Yeah.
get to you.
Yeah.
I'll get to you. Yeah.
But those people always, like, I am sometimes really stuck on stupid on how people would just do
Yeah,
that.
no, there's one girl right now on Facebook. I'm like really invested in her drama right now because she drops names and I'm like, what'd she post today? You know, like, but like,
Really?
Who?
Yeah. I'll show you.
I need
Okay.
some drama.
I'll show you all later, but like, that is toxic behavior. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, airing
But
your dirty
posting,
laundry
yes.
to the public is toxic behavior.
One thing I've learned is you never post about your personal life, about your money stuff, or like, and what's the other one? There's like 3 things that you should never talk about. Also, like your politics and religion,
Yeah.
like what, like your personal views on that. Like, just, it's so controversy, and it's just like it's like you're opening the door for people to get into your business
Yes.
and have an opinion on whatever your business is. You know?
Did I ever tell you all that one of my friends told me that I shouldn't post about my husband and like what he gets me because girls will want to date him?
Oh no.
No,
And
you
I'm
never
like
told us that.
and I'm like,
but I can
what?
see.
But
Yeah,
I can see that.
Like
You
if
know,
I have to worry about that, I shouldn't be with
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't
Albert told
believe in
me.
that.
Albert told me he made a comment, something like, I don't know what movie we were watching, and it was about like friends fighting over a guy, and he made a comment like, that's why you should never tell your girlfriends about your guy, especially like sex wise. He's like, especially sex wise. It's like, cause they'll get curious. And I'm like, what? And it's like, yeah, like just like in the movies, like that shit happens in real life.
If you're susceptible to that, then we don't belong together.
Yeah, no,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
no,
Like-
of course. But it's something
But
that
like some
I don't know
girls
why.
believe like, oh, I can't post the good things in my life because people will try and take it. Or
Yeah.
like, don't post
Yeah, no, they
the good
believe
things
that.
about your husband
Yeah.
because other girls are gonna be like, oh, well, let me try and steal him. And
Let
I'm
me
like,
try to get him.
no,
Yeah.
like
And
I'm
there's
not
a
gonna worry
certain
about
breed of
that.
women that will do that. I had an experience with
That's toxic, right?
a
'Cause
friend,
Yeah.
women that want to do that.
a person that I knew since I was young. I invited them to my house several times, and one day everybody was drinking. It was a big reunion, and before you know it, I turn around and I had been drinking already, and I looked at my other friend and I'm like, "Is that weird to you?" And she's grinding on him. He was not looking at her. He was just looking straight, right? And he was talking to his friend, and this girl is trying to grind on my ex. And my friend looks at me. She's like, "Oh, don't worry. I've been keeping an eye on her, but she's trying."
That happened to me
But
with
he's
Albert.
not even acknowledging her. So then I walked up. I called her up. Can we speak outside? And I just asked her to grab her bags and leave my house.
Good.
And she left.
Oh my goodness!
Now,
she
are
knew
we-
what
Did
she
she
was
say
doing.
anything to you?
She knew what she was doing.
100%. She apologized. Do we still talk every once in a while? Yes. I forgave her in the sense that you're stupid. I feel
Have you
sorry
noticed
for
we
you.
all moved back?
Yes.
Like, you moved back.
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
That,
And
That's how offensive that was.
yeah.
yeah. So
Oh my
so I had
God.
to we spoke 2 days later, and I said, "Hey, don't worry about it. I just know better not to invite you over to my home." Right?
Wow.
Now, him, you know what he tells me? That's what happens when you bring women to the house. Shit like this is gonna happen if you
No.
keep bringing these type of
What?
women.
That's
That's
crazy.
also a weird
yeah.
thing to say
Yeah,
though.
but he did not do anything to because my friend, the one that was here,
She's like, I've been keeping an eye on you.
yes, and she
One
was keeping an
time
eye.
I was DJing and Albert went to go see me, and a few of my friends were there, and the same thing happened. She was like going up to him and like kind of just like, hey, like he was just sitting down, and she was like grabbing his leg or like, you know. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, am I
Did
seeing
you
right? Like, am I seeing right? Like, what's going on? And my other
Music
friends
is
came
all
up to
messed
me.
up.
It's like, dude, like, don't worry. We're keeping an eye on her, but like, we're seeing what she's doing. And then after that, we stopped being friends, of course,
Yeah.
after a few times. But
Yeah, no.
But
You have
yeah,
to
that
cut
was
people
like one of my
out.
one of like my best
Even if-
friends
yeah.
trying to like
Wow, what
hit up
best
my
friend?
dude.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. So I can see how. I don't know. Like, is that a valid thing?
I think it's
I'm
just
sure
a,
it's a
like,
overall
it's
thing.
just
No,
a-
right? It's a
just
woman,
Like
like-
That's a-
it's
like a
the
toxic woman
you're
trait.
unevolved.
That's a toxic trait.
Toxic trait.
You're
Yeah.
unevolved. You're insecure, or you're recovering from trauma. There's something internally wrong with
Right,
them to
right.
want to betray their friends in that way. And I think a lot of toxicity in partners, colleagues, friends, general everything, it comes from trauma, like internal trauma that they need to heal.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like whether it's insecurity, maybe they were cheated on. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because being cheated
Yeah.
on is trauma. And
Oh,
if you
it
don't
is
heal that
trauma.
trauma,
It is.
you're going to carry that toxicity into the next relationship. So we can talk about this all day long, guys. But
Yeah.
anyway, share
One
your
time
stories. Share your
We're
stories
I'm
of
just getting started.
toxicity in your life. We'd love to hear them, and let us know what you think. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.